and welcome to the Starlight Network podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Aronson. I'm an actress, creative energy coach, casting associate, and Reiki energy healer. Join me as we discuss the ins and outs of living life as a creative and networking in Hollywood. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, back to my podcast. I have Jeff Gunn today with Infolist. So, so a lot of you know him already. I've been meeting a lot of people in the industry within the last couple of months, and I would say a big percentage of them know who you are. So I'm really proud to have you on here. So thanks for being here. And for those that don't know you, I'll let you introduce yourself, but I'll just tell some people like a brief overview of how I met you and what I know about you, and then
Sure.
you could take over. So Jeff runs Infolist, and my understanding of it is it's a website, and also there's an email that goes out and it tells people about important events going on in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry. And I I know that there's for sure networking events. And besides that, I imagine that there's also news and things that people just need to know to be on the up and up within the industry. So I'm excited for you to explain more details about that. Before I let you take over and fill in those holes of what I missed, and explain further what it is. So Infolist had a holiday party, and Renee Garcia, the casting director I work for, who I also have interviewed on my podcast, she brought me as her plus one. And that night changed my life because everyone knows about Infolist. And so everyone goes to the event, and there's an amazing red carpet. And not gonna lie, we were in line for 3 hours to get on the red carpet. But it was worth it because I made so many friends in line, like so many people in my group of people, like my entourage or my community. There's so many of those people that I literally met in line that night and have become friends with. I mean, it's really insane. So can I just name a few? Because you probably know most of them.
Sure.
Okay. So Kenny Hargrove, I already knew, but I introduced him to Renee that night.
Yeah. Kenny's great. He has a lot of social gatherings himself and is producing films and doing things in the industry. So and a
Yeah.
super nice guy.
Yeah, Kenny's so nice. He's great. And then Danny and Lizette, so Renee already knew them, but we happened to be in line with them. Do you know that, Danny McDermott and Lizette
Oh, McDermott.
Santiago?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I'm thinking Danny. I know 50
Oh,
Danny. So.
okay, yeah. Danny McDermott and Lizette Santiago. So they already knew Renee, and I became really good friends with them in that line because we were there for 3 hours. We also met Rudy and Timmy. Do you know Timmy Swerve and Rudy Amesqua, I think is how to pronounce the last name?
Don't know them well. The name's familiar, so I
Mhm.
think I'm sure I've met them.
So Rudy's a talent manager, and Timmy
Okay.
is an actor that he represents.
Okay. Cool.
So I met Kevon Lindley.
Yvonne, right. Yeah.
You remember him?
Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's so nice.
Yeah, he
And
runs my red carpet a lot. So.
exactly. And then I met Elle LeBlanc, who is the host of Your Red Carpet, and we've become really good friends. We're taking an acting class together from Lisa
Oh,
London. She's
nice.
a huge casting director.
Oh, that's
So
great. Yeah, and of
yeah.
course, we had for those who haven't been to my events, we also have a large number of like A-list special guests at these parties. We have people, I think the holiday one, we had like Rod Roddenberry, who's executive producer of the entire Star Trek franchise. So we've got people like that. We've had Ilya Salkind, who's executive producer of the Superman movies. We've got like writers of X-Men and Iron Man and Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, movies like that. We've got people from Oscar-winning films like Whiplash, music exec by the name of Richard Walters. We've got other music people, Jeff Blue, who's music producer for like Limp Bizkit. He's worked for like almost every major record label. So we've got guys like that. We've got major music people, major film people, TV producers. We've had like our producers of Umbrella Academy. Name a TV show. We've probably had someone from that show there.
And actors. I know you've had Tara
And,
Reid.
oh yeah, we had both Tara Reid and
Oh yeah, Ian Ziering. Apparently my stepmom knows him.
Oh, right. It's a small town. And I think and actually it was through two different sources how they ended up at the party. But yeah, they were both, of course, the Sharknado both in Sharknado.
That's funny, but from two separate things. So I also know somebody else that was in Sharknado who's from my hometown. Her name's Cassie Skirbo.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, so we grew up together. We were in school together and we hung out once and I went to her birthday party once.
For our next, the pre-Oscars event, we're going to have Thunder Levin, who's actually the screenwriter of all the Sharknado movies. He's going to be coming for that one.
That's funny. So much Sharknado synchronicity.
The Sharknado 7 Synchronicity.
Nice.
I want to invite everyone who's listening. Would love to have you at our next event. Is my pre-Oscars soiree. It's the Thursday before the Oscars, so Thursday, March 7th. It's going to be at Sky Bar, and I say this with all humility, but it is truly one of the best networking events in town, because it's one of the few places where you have so many A-list names all in one room at the same time as a lot of like working professionals who you don't know their name, but you know all the shows and movies they're working on, as well as up and comers. So there's kind of something for everyone. I mean, normally to meet as many A-list people, you have to go to like a major convention or something. But there it's like there's either a line and you get to talk to them for 5 seconds. Hi, here's my card. What can you do for me? Okay, bye. And if you're happy
No,
with
never,
that,
never say that to somebody. I know Jeff's kidding, but that's one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
main things that I preach is never ask someone, what can you do for me?
Yeah, no, that's a story I'll definitely get into later.
Yes.
I say that joking, or security escorts them away before you even get a chance to talk to them. So, but at my events, it's in a relaxed, chill atmosphere. You can just walk up to anyone, say hello, and you can talk with them for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 2 hours, as long as they're not running away from you. But,
Networking.
but yeah, no, everyone at my events is usually really nice. We have a very nice vibe and a very nice crowd. So you get to talk to pretty much anyone you want.
I agree. I could vouch for that because I've been there. So Jeff was kind enough to give me an affiliate link. So anybody who's watching this can get the 25%.
25% off. So yes, everyone would love for you to come and join us at the event. We've got a great affiliate link for you here on.
I am going to be putting the affiliate link in the description of this podcast episode. And it's okay if I post it on Instagram as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because so far I had been privately messaging people.
Right.
And
But
I
just
actually,
if you're posting it, just don't tag me in that one, because I
oh,
want
okay.
people not seeing that. I want my people seeing mine.
Totally.
People seeing yours.
Totally. And yeah, so far I had been private messaging people and I have some people that already got tickets.
Yeah, I did. I know I saw at least I think 3 or so already. So
Nice. Very nice.
no.
So yeah, so 25% off if you use my affiliate link.
There's a lot of actually managers and agents that come to my events. Actually, one of the agencies that was at the last event, ASAP Talent Agency. I mean, I know there's always things going on and people are meeting people and things happen, but they told me they actually signed 9 new clients from my last event. They're like, we met so many amazing people. We actually signed 9 people to our agency. And I'm like, I was
Wow.
expecting that. So that's like awesome. I love hearing stories like that. People getting ahead, people helping each other. I had one story before that. There was someone who's actually top film exec who's at one of my events, and he happened to know an agent. And this woman had walked up and said, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Here's like my reel. She gave like a brief thing. He was actually impressed, like, wow, that's very cool. I need you to meet. This is my friend, the talent agent. And like he like signed her, I don't think on paper then, but he's like, yeah, it sounds great. Let's meet and we'll sign you. So she got signed just because of something like that. And I thought that was great. That was one person. And then ASCP came and they say 9 people. So yeah, I love stories like that. And I hear people like, oh yeah, I met this person and now he's producing my film, or I met that person and I love their script. And so there's just so many stories I hear about people not only working together, but meeting the people that take their career to the next level. And so that's why I keep doing it. It's my way of giving back. But yeah, but Infolist is, the events are part of what we do. We actually started, because we post everything from jobs and opportunities for filmmakers and writers, casting stuff, a lot of shows and big commercials cast through us. So in addition to that, and I post other people's events as well, seminars, workshops, networking events, pretty much anything for the creative community, whether it's film, television, music, artists, fashion, anything related to any of those we'll post, as long as it's of benefit to the receivers is kind of my main guideline. So and so in general, I don't post things like, hi, I'm someone you've never heard of, but please come to my screening of a movie you've never heard of. And I mean, I would love to do that, but if I sent out one of those, I'd be sending out 1,000 a day, and then no one would be on my list anymore. So everything I do send out has to be kind of an opportunity for the receiver instead of a solicitation. But the good news is we're actually making some updates. I mean, you can actually do networking like that on the Infolist website, because you can set up your profile and you can say, this is what I'm looking for. You can search for the kind of people you want to meet. We're going to be launching the mobile app, I'm hoping within a couple of weeks. And at the same time as the mobile app launches, we're going to be doing an update to the website, which actually helps you do much more targeted networking. So you can be like, I need to meet this kind of person, and it will give you all the members that are doing that kind of thing. And you also kind of post, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I have to offer. So you can tell right away kind of who you want to work with and who wants to work with you. So I'm hoping that will, and it's also like you can geographically target people in certain areas. If you want to do that, you can look nationwide. Hopefully it will help even more people get more things done in more ways. So
Wow. That is amazing. That does a lot more than I thought, which is why I let you take over, because I knew I wouldn't be able to cover everything that Infolist does, and that is beyond my expectations. That's really amazing. And it sounds expensive. So I know you and I had talked about different tiers of like membership type things.
not expensive at all. It's completely free.
What?
If you consider free expensive, then yes, it's very expensive.
Free?
Well, there's a free aspect. There's also a premium membership that you can get, which actually is, everyone tells me I should raise it, but I try and keep it affordable for everyone. I won't go into like the exact prices. One of the benefits of doing the premium membership is you get discounts on events. So if you're going to the Infolist events, if you're attending other seminars and workshops, more than likely, whatever you're paying Infolist for the premium, you're saving, if not a little bit, sometimes even a lot more than that on the prices for all the things you're going to. So I try and make all my business win-win. So I make a little bit, you save even more, so everybody wins.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Win-win. I like that. That's a really good way to do business.
yeah, and that kind of ties into kind of how Infolist started too. So to give you the brief history, so Infolist started, well, I used to make my living as a composer. So I wrote music for films, TV shows, video games, things like that. While I was doing that, I was just doing a lot of networking, meeting people, trying to get the next gig like anybody. And while doing that, just being a helpful friend, I'd meet a filmmaker. I'd be like, oh, you're a filmmaker. By the way, I saw this job opportunity. Here's the info. Send me a resume if you want. Oh, you're an actor. I saw this casting. Here's the info. And somehow started letting more and more people know about more and more things. Before I knew it, I kind of became known as the guy that knew what was going on. So information started coming to me, and then so much information was coming to me, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. So then someone actually made a website for me with the idea that was supposed to like automate the process and save me time, because it was actually like getting in the way of earning a living as a composer. That was a big mistake, because it did not save me any time. It just made the whole thing explode, and then it was taking 10 times as much time.
Oh no, success.
Uh-oh. So I'm like, all right, if I'm going to keep doing this, I got to start charging somebody something. But I didn't want to charge like the struggling actors. They're struggling enough. But by this point, I was sending lots of people to all these seminars and workshops, and they were making a lot of money from all the people I was sending them. So I'm like, maybe I should charge them. But again, win-win. I just made my prices. I knew however much I was charging them, they were making more than that from all the people I was sending them. So they win, I win, because I get paid for what I used to do for free for a very long time. And
Yeah,
the people on my list win, because I would always require a discount for them. So it was a win-win for everybody. And then it just kept spiraling up and kind of became my full-time job. So
I love that. Do you consider yourself a businessman, or did you think of yourself as a businessman before all of this, or did you learn business techniques and skills because of this experience?
yeah, I'm not even sure if I consider myself a businessman yet, even though I own a business and it pays my bills. But I mean, I've always started in the creative end of things. I'm most happy when I'm doing creative stuff. So I mean, even though Infolist is my full-time job now, but I still play music for fun. I'm not really pursuing it as a full-time living anymore. I am working actually on producing some film projects and some tech startup things too, just to make sure I have no time to sleep.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm always doing something creative, no matter what. And that's my primary focus. If I'm fortunate enough to make lots of money while I'm doing it, that's great too.
What instrument do you play?
Keyboard's the main instrument. I play just enough guitar to sound bad, but enough I can tell the guitar player what I need him to do.
I see.
I write for everything from full orchestra to jazz band to techno to rock and roll. Actually, I started in rock bands way back when. and then went to school. I got my degree in music composition. So yeah, I started kind of writing for everything. I'm definitely not like a concert pianist. I play well enough to do the things I need to do. There are much better piano players, but that to me was just the tool for composing.
Do you still like to collaborate with people since it sounds like mostly you do writing for music? Are you still for hire or for collab if people wanted to get in touch with you as far as composing or music?
For the right situation, yeah, I'm not actively really pursuing it. But
Got
if
it.
George Lucas comes up and says, "I need you to score the next Star Wars trilogy," I'll probably say yes. I
I see.
would.
Okay, well that puts it in perspective.
But yeah, I mean, even for a smaller project for the right thing, I could make it work.
Got it. So I wanted to hear more about your tech startup. So it's funny, you're like, oh, I'm not a businessman. I just have a business that pays my bills and I have a tech startup. I'm like, sounds pretty businessy to me. But I understand that you resonate and you identify with the creative aspect and then the business stuff. It's happening, but it's not
Yeah,
necessarily like your identity maybe. But yeah, I am curious to hear about this tech startup.
there's actually a couple I'm working on. One is in the music industry, and this one hasn't launched yet. I can't really say too much about it, but it's a way for fans to interact with bands in a way that generates revenue for both of them and creates more engagement and fun and creative outlets for both. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Sorry.
Right. No,
The
I
other one I
understand.
can talk a lot more about is actually kind of three legs of the stool. Two of them have already launched publicly. It's called Script Hop, like script, and then hop, like bounce. So there's one aspect of that, which is kind of the public facing forward half for screenwriters. And it's a platform to send your script around town to, whoever you're sending your script to, but in a way that creates an interactive experience that actually, instead of just sending a dry text PDF document to someone, it creates an interactive experience that makes them want to read the script. It also gives you kind of security over it. If you send someone a PDF, they can post it anywhere, they can copy it, they can send it, they can do whatever they want with it. With our platform, it's kind of tied to a link, and if you see too many people reading it, you can turn it off. So yeah, it creates a very cool interactive experience for the receiver. One problem writers have is when they send a script to someone, they'll like send it to some big person, but then the next day they've made, oh, this changed and that changed, and now it's better. Now
Oh,
it's better. Now
right.
I've got to bug them again with, I know I just sent this to you yesterday, but now I've got these new changes. Da 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 da. With our system, the receiver will always have the most updated version of the script, so you don't have to worry about that. And it also counts for lookbooks and other documents that go along with it.
I was
So
just
like,
gonna ask, what about treatments?
and one of the cool things also about our platform, like when it comes to treatments, like a lot of times if you send a script in for coverage, like the person actually writing the coverage will do the treatment and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they may or may not get what your project is, because a lot of times readers are just starting in the industry and they don't always have a grasp, or maybe they're a sci-fi fan and this is a drama or whatever, and it may not be the kind of thing they're excited about, and so they don't really do justice. With our system, the actual screenwriter writes a synopsis and that follows the project around, so you contain a certain amount of creative control over your vision. Sorry, I'm popular in a short form. We've actually already partnered with Final Draft, so we're going to be included in a future version of their software. So
Wow.
it's actually kind of doing well.
Congratulations.
Bigger, thank you. There's a bigger kind of back end system for like the major studios and agencies, which is kind of a script library system. So, for instance, I mean, the problem now is most of the studios and agencies, the way they track their scripts is so outdated and low tech and arcane, it's almost comical. I mean, some you literally use like email threads, and 2 weeks later, wait, where did we find that? Where was the thing? I'm not really the creator. I'm kind of working with them. I help them put their advisory board together, and some other aspects of it. But the guy who was one of the main creators actually used to run the story department for UTA. And so he has a very good idea of what they need and how they need it. And I mean, he said when he was working at UTA, they literally tracked all their scripts in a Microsoft Word document. I should turn this off. That is the sound of how my phone rings. So now you all know. So yeah, so a huge company like UTA was tracking all those scripts in a Microsoft Word document. And the problem with Microsoft Word documents is when they get to a certain length, they start kind of crashing and eating themselves, and they're having all kinds of problems with that. So he actually made them use upgrade to like a FileMaker Pro database, And even that was pretty basic. It was like the name of the script and the writer and the genre, and that was about it. So he realized they needed something a lot more comprehensive. So he created a system together with a programmer that he teamed up with. And it's basically a system that kind of, it uses, this was before all the AI stuff that's going on now, but they created their own AI, and more actually, not even as much AI as algorithms that they created that kind of read the script, and it doesn't tell you if it's good or if it's bad, because we're not there yet. Even with the new AI, it doesn't tell you if it'll make money or not make money, because that's another thing that people claim to do that they're really not doing yet, because you can't tell that from the script. There's too many other variables.
Oh, okay.
What it does do is it will read the script. And so say you're at CAA, and you've got a client who's a 40-year-old Chinese woman who's a tiddlywinks expert, and you want a road comedy. The AI can read through your whole library of thousands and thousands and thousands of scripts, because they get a huge pile of scripts like every day. It'll read through all your scripts, and in a few seconds, it'll tell you, okay, you've got these road comedies with this kind of lead character, this kind of situation, and it will tell you everything you've got. So it's actually, it brings new life to old projects that we've totally forgotten about otherwise. One of the other very cool things about it that we're very excited about is, say you're one of the screenwriters who's using the other system I told you about to send your script around town, and it's all with privacy settings. But say you're a writer and you happen to have the Tiddlywinks Road comedy, and the guy at CAA goes through his whole library, he has no Tiddlywinks Road comedies. Oh no, what are we going to do? Then ding, by the way, this other guy who you normally never would have talked to, you never would have let in the front door, he's, a guy without an agent or whatever, not in your normal realm of who you talk to, he's got exactly what you're looking for. Would you like to read it? And so that kind of opens new doors for people who are outside the system, and even people who are in the system.
Because of filters and browsing and search bars?
The studios and agencies, they talk to people who were at a certain level. If you don't have a major agent, or you don't have a huge lawyer sending them your stuff,
So what
they
I'm
don't.
saying is that this does give an opportunity to the, let's say, the little man who doesn't have the connections yet, or the agent,
Exactly.
because of the search feature, because you're saying
Right.
that this person's an exact match.
Yeah, for what you're looking for.
Wow. That's your third tech thing that you're working on, right? You have the music one that you can't really talk about, you have the
Right.
script one, and then this is one that's almost like a matchmaking system, is that right?
Well, it's tied in. It's still through ScriptTop. It's the same company, and that's why we're able to put the two parts together, because the screenwriters who use it to send the script around town, they get linked to the library system that the agencies and studios use. If they have what that studio is looking for, it will notify the studio, bing, this outside writer has what you're looking for. Would you like to read it? Yeah, I mean, it's whoever wants to sign up for and use the library system, they would have access to find the filmmakers they're using for. As a filmmaker, just because the industry would never allow it, you can't just automatically have your stuff sent to like every studio or every production company unsolicited. They need to solicit it. So that's why it works with the search feature. If it's what they're looking for, it will tell them, would you like to read it? And then they still can say yes or no. I mean, it's 4 scripts. So if you're a screenwriter that wants to send your script around town, you can use it. If you're an agency or a studio or a production company that has a lot of scripts, you would use the library system. And then the privacy settings allow you to either accept outside scripts from people you don't know, or not. You don't have to.
So my question about that is, are you, I mean, I don't know if you can talk about this, but I'm just curious, if this technology exists, are you going to use it for matching script writers with production companies only? If I got that right, then that only, or would it also be possible to match other aspects of filmmakers together? Is the technology able to make the library for things other than just scripts? Like, for instance, casting?
I mean, the programming is just for scripts, because there's a lot of very specific things, that are specific to scripts that aren't specific to other things. In general, yes, we've actually even had conversations about further down the road, different ways this technology can be used. And everything from, music editors can use it, looking for, songs that have lyrics that meet certain requirements. If you need to find a song about, tiddlywinks for your movie, You can search all the songs that have tiddlywinks in the lyrics, and it'll, and by genre and all kinds of other things, you'd be able to use it to sort. Publishing companies can use it for books. I mean, anything you can put in a database to a certain degree can be used by this system.
All the examples you're giving are things that are written like books or scripts or
Yeah. I
song
mean, that
lyrics.
is primarily what it's designed for. The AI, reads and gives the thing. I mean, any database program can to a certain degree do what we do because it's pretty much a database. But what's different about ours is it's tailored specifically for the things you need to do with a script, which is the character bar breakdowns, things that are tied with the script.
So it sounds like the technology exists that people could use something like this database or library to do matchmaking with other things within filmmaking, but your software is going to be specifically
For
for
script.
for scripts. Okay, got it. The way that my mind works is I get excited for other possibilities. Let's say if a director needs to meet a DP or a casting director needs to meet an actor or something. So
Right.
I
Well,
just
Infolist is actually going to be kind of geared for that. It's
Infolist will
on
be.
Infolist, yeah, because you'll be able to do what I call targeted networking. So if you want to meet a DP that's in Arizona, you can search DPs in Arizona. It will tell you who's there.
And that makes
Uh,
sense because you said that people on Infolist have profiles. They make profiles.
yeah.
Okay, well that's exciting. So as far as the song lyrics and the books and the other types of things besides just screenplays, are those things that you would like the audience to know? Like, is that something I should make sure that they know about that you can also do
No, because
that?
we're not really doing that yet, so I don't want to
Yeah,
confuse people.
you don't want to confuse people.
So
So okay, so right now
yeah.
it's
Right now it
essentially
is
for
very
scripts.
specifically all about scripts. All the internal functionality is designed for things you do with a script, project Bibles and things like that.
And whether that changes down the line, that's a whole different story. It's
Yeah.
just,
I
yeah,
mean,
right now it's for
it
scripts.
would require a lot of additional programming to do the specifics of things that are specific to songs, adding music publishers and song rights and who's the songwriter and who's the lyricist and who's there's a whole bunch of things specific to songwriting that would have to go into that. With book publishing, which I don't know that much about, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of very specifics and the legals of it and who owns what rights and that would have to go into that. So they all require their own amount of specific programming.
Got it. Cool. Well, that's really exciting that you're doing this stuff. And then you said that the app for InfoList is coming out soon. So that is sort of separate. I mean, it's sort of related, of course, it's InfoList, but besides your three tech startup ventures, then you have your app launching as well, right?
Right.
Wow, that's a lot to concentrate on.
Yeah, and a couple of film projects too. So
You're producing?
yeah,
Do you want to tell me
produced.
about the film projects that you're producing?
I can't say too much about them because we actually are currently in talks with some people.
Okay.
Um, I can give you like a very general thing. One is actually a concert film with the only existing concert footage of an extremely iconic music performer who everyone knows their name, but interestingly enough, they died early in their career and did not do very many concerts. So,
Wow.
so one is a concert film about that. Another one is it's kind of a thriller set in a unique location with very unique visuals. We've got a couple of big names attached. We're just in the finding money phase, which is always the hard part.
Cool. Do you know what your budget is?
Got a couple budgets on this one, depending on because we've got like the main supporting actors on board who are pretty big known names. We don't have the main actor, so depending which lead actor we put on board, it could change, but it's going to be somewhere between like 3.5 million to like 5 million.
Okay. So I asked for a couple of reasons. One is imagine if someone's listening to this and they're like, "Oh, I want to fund it."
Don't feel free to reach out.
Right?
Go to infolist.com. You can just contact, and the email will come to me.
Sounds good. And then also, I've been meeting some people that do funding, and I feel like I'm getting into executive producing because I happen to be meeting multiple people that do funding and film financing. So I do like the idea of being able to help connect somebody, like a filmmaker, to somebody who can help fund. And so they all have different qualifications. Because it's a little bit over my head, I had them just write out a list of qualifications. That way, let's say there's a filmmaker who wants funding, I could say, here's a list. and you could answer the survey, just fill out the survey questions, and if it's a match, then I'll connect the 2 of you, where if you look at it and you're like, "Okay, for sure, it's like, it's not a match or I don't qualify," then I'm not gonna waste the time of the funder.
Right.
So, it's an exciting place to be in, and I hope that I keep meeting more people who can do that because it's helping people's dreams come true, and even if I don't have the money to do that myself, if I'm able to help connect people because I'm really good at connecting people, it's like my thing. So if I can connect people that can help make someone else's dream come true, then that in a way is making my dream come true. And it's been kind of happening lately. I've been getting some people an agent, and as we're talking about the funding and just introducing people, we're, making films together, and it's just really fun and exciting. So yeah, any way that I could help out with your films, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why
I'll
we
talk.
get along, because we're both very much about that. So
Totally. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, so I'll talk about how I met you, and I knew that we'd get along because of that. I actually didn't meet you at that Infolist holiday party. You were there, but I didn't know you yet. So, yeah, so I had gone to the Infolist holiday party, but I didn't actually meet you there, even though I met half the town at that party. But I knew who you were. And then we actually met at the Digital LA holiday party, and
right, right.
really nice holiday party, the Digital LA holiday party, and you were there, and I was with Renee. So I think you had met Renee before, right? Renee
Yeah,
Garcia.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
but I don't think you knew each
Great.
other very well. I feel like that was
No, not well.
the
It was like, yeah, very brief, I think.
yeah. So that was cool that you were able to get to know her a little bit there. And I didn't want to take too much of your time because kind of like you're talking about, it's like I didn't know if there's anything I could do for you, and I didn't want to, ask for stuff because I didn't know you. But I knew that you knew Elle, and because you've worked together, and I had become friendly with her. We weren't super close yet at that point. Now we're really good friends. But at that point, I knew her a little bit, and we went to take some photos together. There was some sort of ring light selfie station, and then all of a sudden you were in there taking photos with us, and to me, you were a little bit of a celebrity because people know who you are, so I was like, "Oh, I'm taking photos with Jeff Gund," and, like, we don't even know each other yet. So then, I actually well, this is kind of funny to tell you, but also for the listeners to see kinda, like, how this works. So, in my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh, this is so great," the proximity, and also we both know Elle, and I could use this as an opportunity to meet you and possibly get to know you, but again, not in a sneaky way. It's just like, oh, this is what feels appropriate. Like, this is an opportunity
Yeah,
that feels appropriate because I'm not forcing it. So we're already taking photos together. So then after that, I started talking to you. The music was really loud. And it was almost like I had this instinct or intuition where it was like, oh, there's something that we have in common. And that's what we are talking about before, that we do have stuff in common. So my instinct was that maybe we would get along, but I have to find out because I wasn't, let's say, at the same status level as you, but I knew that we could get along as people. In fact, I cut hair, it's like one of my side jobs, and during the pandemic, I would be cutting hair for people that were living in the Hollywood Hills and just really amazing homes and people that are successful, and because we were all going through the pandemic, it's something we all had in common, so we were able to just talk as people because we were all going through it together. So that really taught me to be able to connect with people as people and not see them as a celebrity or whatever it is. So that's, I think, where I gained that confidence. And so as we were talking, my instinct was, how can I mention that I also do stuff with, like, with hosting or events or networking, and I didn't really know how to say it, and it was loud, so I was like, "Wait, let's go over here because it's loud," and then it's like building rapport because then we have more time that we're talking and just being human together, like, "Oh, it's loud, let's go over here." And I think I had told you how I had some interview skills, and so then I was curious about hosting, but I didn't wanna just be like, "Oh, can I have a hosting job?" It's not like that, it's just to have a conversation. It's like, "Here's something we have in common, and I'm curious if there's anything that would organically come up if we're just talking about it." And so from there, I mentioned that I had a podcast, and but I didn't know enough about you to just say, "Can you come on my podcast?" So that's why I
right.
said, "Well, what if we get coffee?" And I've told you multiple times now, Jeff, that I don't normally I'm not normally so gutsy just to say, like, "Can I pick your brain?" Like, I don't normally do that to people because it's kind of an ask. It's a respectful ask, like, I'll buy you coffee, and I respect you enough that I would like to hear, how your mind works, but I know that it's an ask, and so I felt weird asking you because I don't normally do that, but I just had a really strong gut instinct, and I'm glad I followed it, and you were really nice and kind and receptible. That's the word, right? Receptible?
We'll make it a word.
Okay. Sometimes I make up words on the podcast. I
It's
think
kind
it's
of
a
weird.
word.
I know what you mean. Now I'm
Receptive?
confused. Receptive. Yeah,
Receptive,
that's the
okay.
word we're looking for.
So it's yeah, receptive, okay. So you were very receptive. And then yeah, so and then it led to this, and then hopefully this will also help you and get you business because people are gonna come to your events. So it's again the win-win, and that's what works is when it's a win-win. And sometimes it could be strategic, sometimes it could be completely organic and random, but hopefully it's a balance of the two where people can still get what they need and want and help each other, and it can be a happy life.
Yeah, no, it's about happy accidents as well as kind of planned things, and it's always about the balance. And there's always a gray area. That's what makes us
That's true.
human beings. Um,
Yeah, the balance makes sense because if we just like go with the wind, then we're just going to be followers. We'll never be leaders and we'll never actually accomplish our goals if we're only doing things that come up organically.
yeah, I think yeah, it's because yeah, just like you said, if you only go with the wind, you're just going. You're not having any direction. But if you're only directed and you're focused, I think you also miss a lot of opportunities. Had someone asked me, however many years ago, like, are you going to do a internet platform that helps the creative industry? I'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm a composer. That's what I do.
Wow.
But because then, and I was very focused on being a composer and all the networking I was doing for being a composer, but that's what kind of led to other doors that opened up that like, ooh, there's this other thing too. And I like that also. And doing the Infolist is kind of what all the people I meet through that is what led to getting into producing films and the tech startup stuff. So it's, I'm still focused in that it's creative industry, but open to also go with the flow. And if there's things that I'm passionate about and also like doing, there's no reason to not do those things.
Yeah, so that's something I want to ask you about. Also, forgive my voice. Maybe I'm getting sick. I feel like my voice is like super raspy today, but you could still like hear me and understand me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's not
So
good.
so so what I wanted to ask you about that was although it's going in a different direction than you originally planned, do you still feel fulfilled or like do you feel like you're choosing it instead of composing or do you still feel like you could do composing and you can still do music and that you're going with the flow of what feels good. It's not that life has handed you this and you just have to do it because it's successful and now you're like losing out on the other
Yeah.
thing.
No, I mean, I'm doing it because I love doing it. And I mean, as long as I'm doing something creative, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be music. It could be filmmaking, it could be a tech startup, it could be, any number of things. However, it worked out, the Infolist opportunity unveiled itself. I could have easily chosen, no, I'm doing music and that's what I do, if that's what was most important to me. But what was most important was doing creative things that also give back. I mean, you want to do music, I'm hoping it's for some kind of project that has a positive message or a positive outlook somehow. I don't want to do just anything just because it's pays or it's famous or whatever. Like even the stuff I'm producing has some type of social message behind it that is hopefully positive. So, well, not hopefully, but it's positive.
That's awesome. So here's the questions that I wrote. What do you do when your energy is off?
I just kind of the person that always just does what needs to be done. So if there's something there that I may not feel totally like doing it, but if it needs to be done, I just do it. I don't think about I just do it. So things have a way of getting done if you're focused on getting them done.
Yeah, like it's not a matter of willpower. It's more like discipline.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah,
Okay.
I know I wouldn't be happy if I didn't do it. So just my inclination is to just do it. It's not really even necessarily a conscious thought process. I just
Okay.
know that needs to be done, so I do it. I've got some stories I could tell about situations where there'd be a large group of people like not doing the obvious thing that needs to get done, and I'll be the one like, "Excuse me, like Hmm. We got 50 people here. All we need to do is this. I'll give a quick story. We were leaving this event, and it was this event. It was at the top of this kind of dirt, windy road at the top of the hill, and there was kind of like a almost cliff off one end of the road. So it's this kind of steep thing off the road. So at the end of the night, we're all coming home. It's like 2 in the morning or something, and one of the cars coming down, one of his tires dipped off this thing, right? And so now he's kind of halfway down this steep ditch, but his car's still there. Luckily, he can't move forward because he doesn't want to go down the thing. He by himself can't get his car to go backwards, so he's kind of blocking the whole road. And now there's like 20 minutes of cars lined up behind him, and no one's moving. And after like a few minutes, I'm kind of like, all right, what's going on here? It's supposed to just be a road that we all drive down, and no one's moving. So I get out of my car and I walk up there and see this guy with his car, and there's 20 people standing right around going, yeah, we called a tow truck. They said they're going to be, won't be here till like 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and da 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 da. I'm like, I don't know. We got 20 people standing right here. It's one car. You, like get behind it. Let's push it. And even then, it like took a little like, well, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You're a strong guy. We got 20 of us. Let's push the car. And so I finally, with a little effort, got 20 people to push the car, and then he's back on the road, and then we all went home
Wow.
in 10 minutes instead of 5 hours.
Wow. Jeff, the problem solver.
So I just like, it's just what needed to be done. Like, to me, it wasn't any big deal. Like, how could you not do that?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, what I get from you is you're a pretty logical guy. Like it's logic over emotions.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is my message to the world? I could get very political, but I'll stay out of that.
Okay.
I mean, when it comes to creativity, I mean, the cliche answer is to, be yourself and do what comes naturally, and, let yourself out, and the rest will come from there. And to a certain degree, that is true. I mean, you can't fake something, but there's nothing wrong with also understanding the rules and what makes something commercial. And like storytelling cliches have been true for millennia because they work, right? So if you understand the rules, there's nothing wrong with breaking the rules if you know what the rules are first. Because when you're breaking them for a reason, you're like, yeah, I'm breaking that rule because I want to accomplish this and this, that does this for the story and brings this cool, unique thing that hasn't been done before. But if you're just breaking them randomly because, oh, I feel like this and I feel like that, good chance you're going to do something very sloppy that, disengages people, because there's, like I said, there's a reason for those rules. And if you always follow only the rules, you'll probably end up being boring because everyone's seen that before. But if you know the rules enough to know what makes something compelling and what makes it good and why those rules are there, then you'll know when it's time to break those rules so you can do something unique and different. And it will, instead of being just sloppy, it will lean towards something that will be more engaging and more emotionally attaching for people. That would be my creative advice for people.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
So everyone, yeah, would love for you to come and join us on March 7th at the pre-Oscar soiree. And the good news is you can get a 25% off discount. She's got a link in the description right here, I believe. We'd love to see you there. That's how you get your tickets. And yeah.
And we'll see you there. And it's my
We'll see
dad's
you there.
birthday, so we'll celebrate in his honor. Isn't it? Aren't we celebrating your birthday too?
Yes. All right. So the long story short is my birthday is actually in February. And
Well,
they
happy
used to do the
birthday, because right now it's
Oscars.
February.
Thank you. Thank you. Because they used to do the Oscars every year in February. It was like
Oh yeah.
mid-February. And so it was always like literally right around the day of my birthday. So I made it a joint birthday Oscars party. In the last year or two, they moved it to March, but it's been kind of like a long-standing tradition. So I didn't want to ruin the tradition. So I still kind of call it the birthday party. That's only a couple of weeks off from my birthday, so it's not like too bad.
I
But
see.
but it's a tradition we've been doing for many years, so we're keeping the tradition.
So you're an Aquarius.
Yes.
I know you don't
Yeah.
really believe in all that stuff, so I'm not going to go into that. But for
Oh,
anyone
that's
who
okay.
does listen to this and they like astrology, Jeff's an Aquarius.
Yes. I don't know how much I believe in the science or
The
lack of science, whatever
spirituality.
you want to call it,
Mhm.
behind it. But I do know that if you read anything about Aquarius, it describes me like perfectly to a T. So
Yes, I agree.
I am very Aquarius.
I agree. So speaking of which, one thing that we had talked about over coffee when I was getting to know you a little bit, so I knew kind of like what to talk to you about on the podcast. So obviously I'm very spiritual, and you're a little bit more practical, I guess, where we
Hmm.
actually agreed about a lot of things, but it was more about kind of like the science and the psychology about what you put out there is kind of what people would be attracted to. And if somebody is kind of like a low vibrational type of person and just like moping or complaining or something like that, then maybe other people won't be attracted to that and give them opportunities because they even subconsciously would think, oh, they're not going to really do anything with this opportunity. So why would I waste my time? Where if somebody is a go-getter and a positive person, so then like a high vibrational type of energy, then other people might be attracted to that bright light and want to be around that, and so then they might get more opportunities. So what I like about that is it aligns with my beliefs and your beliefs, and that's why I think it's true because no matter the semantics, no matter
Yeah.
how we talk about it or word it, it still kind of makes sense to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like human psychology. It works because it's psychology. For those more spiritually inclined, it'll work on those levels too. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we all agree. World peace.
we want happy, nice people.
Yes, exactly. That's why I brought it up is I like to study what makes people successful, and on the podcast, I like to help teach people that like let's say if someone wants to get into the industry and they're like, well, you're talking about all this networking and you meet this person, but maybe they've met people and people don't like them and they don't know why, and they don't realize it's an energy thing or a personality thing, that there's nothing actually wrong with them, but maybe they just have kind of a pessimistic attitude and people don't like to be around that, and they didn't know that. So that's why
And
I
I would
think it's
even go a step further and say that there's even both positive energy people that may or not still like be on the same wavelength and totally vibe and totally click. And that's okay too. There's going to be people you click with and people you don't. Concentrate on the ones you do. You don't have to worry about the ones you don't. They're their own thing. So,
Exactly. Yeah, never force it, right? I think it's so
yeah.
important. Well, that's one of the main things I talk about since you and I have that in common, kind of being out there. We put ourselves out there and we connect people, we connect things. We're like matchmakers on some sort of level with energy and events, and essentially helping people become successful and reach their dreams. You'll vibe with who you vibe with, and if there's someone else that you don't vibe with, but you're both positive people and you're both successful, that's totally fine, and it's so important because the way to make it in this industry besides being talented is to be somebody that people like to be around and want to hire because it's such a social industry. So if you're not vibing with a certain person, that's okay because you will vibe with somebody else. And if it's organic, it's going to last longer and be of better quality anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of semi related to what we were talking about before, too, about the here's my card. What can you do for me? The story I think I told you too earlier, like one of my first big opportunities in the industry. It was like a big networking breakfast. It was like the head of probably, I think, Paramount Studios was like the guest speaker. So huge, huge person in the room. And at the end of her talk, everyone is standing in line because, oh my God, I have to talk to this person and give them my card and say, what can you do for me? Which, as we know, like almost never works because you're just one in a stack of however many cards they got that day. And every other week, they're getting just as many, from everyone else. But the way the industry works is by making real relationships with real people. And so that day, when like the head of a major studio was the guest speaker, I was actually sitting at a table with someone who was pretty low on the totem pole. She was like an assistant to an assistant editor on a TV show Entertainment Tonight. But we were actually having a nice conversation. And so rather than leave our conversation and just to stand in line and meet for 5 seconds ahead of the studio, like, I'm going to continue this conversation. I'm enjoying talking to this person. And so, because we had such a great conversation, by the end of it, she's, by the way, I know the guys in charge of music for Entertainment Tonight. If you'd like, I'll be happy to give them, your demo if you'd like. I'd be like, sure, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. And so she gave them my demo, and I called to follow up, a week or something later. And like, oh yeah, we got it. Actually, we really liked it. We don't have anything at the moment, but keep in touch. Da da da. So I called them a month later. Hey, just checking back. We don't have anything at the moment, but keep in touch. And this kind of went on for about 6 months till pretty much thinking, all right, it's probably not going to happen, but what the heck, I'll call them one more time. And of course, and that's when they said, yeah, we got something, come on down. So now I'm doing music for Entertainment Tonight, which is a huge show. They're on every day all over the planet. And that was kind of where I really transitioned, just doing odd composing jobs every once in a while to making full-time living as a composer. So it was the choice to make a real relationship instead of a 5 second meet the big person in the room kind of thing that made all the difference. Because it's more important. Actually, if you're going to meet someone big, it's almost better to meet them through someone they know, a lower totem pole person, because then it's through someone they know and trust instead of just some random person they're meeting. Who knows who you are, why do they want to talk to you? But if it comes from someone they know and trust, it's actually much more meaningful. So that's my story and advice about that.
It is such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and that led to me getting, having enough visibility to start getting film jobs and a TV job, and then I was doing music for a bunch of shows on Discovery Channel and Learning Channel. So it was literally what took me to the next level to make a full-time living as a composer. So
Wow. It's such a good story, and it really stuck with me because that's one that you had shared with me over coffee, and I was like, "We have to talk about this on the podcast." I even took notes, and I was like, "We are going to talk about this," and I just hope that people really get it. I hope that it affects them, I hope that it moves them and touches them, and even influences how they approach networking, because it's such a taboo type of word, and that's why I like to talk about it on here because I remember learning when I first got into the industry that networking and connections are the most important thing, but then I soon found out that they're almost like dirty words. So I was like, "Wait, wait, wait, wait,
people,
wait. How am I supposed to make this happen then?" And there's it's kind of like nuance type of techniques, but the most important thing is to be genuine and to actually have genuine connections with people.
yeah, I think it's like, like what I said, it's only a dirty word if you're thinking of it in the wrong way. Because in actuality, it's not about using people and what can you do for me. It's about making a real relationship and a real friend because you both have something to offer and you're both getting to know each other as people.
Yeah, and then from there, those are the people that are gonna wanna work with you, and what's better than working with your friends? And that's why it is so fun to be on set, especially when we're working with some people more than once because we know them, we're comfortable with them, and we're just having fun. So,
Yeah,
um
people will come up to me all the time and be like, yeah, just this networking thing, I just hate it. It feels so fake and phony. I'm like, that's because you're going about it wrong. Real networking is not fake and phony. It's making a real relationship. Like I mentioned before, it's talking with someone, getting to know them as a person. It's, if you actually get to know someone and you feel like, oh my God, I can't do anything for this person. They're so much bigger than me on the ladder or whatever. Actually, not true. Because if you get to know them as a person, like, oh, you like boats? Oh, a friend of mine has a boat. If you want to go. Oh, you like horses? I've got a friend in Northern California has horses. If you're ever up there, and maybe it's a cool, huge thing for them. Maybe it's not, but it's the fact that you've offered something before you ask for something totally changes the way they will interpret you and react to you. I find.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point. I was interviewed on a red carpet for it was the Golden Globes after party. I got interviewed by Elle.
Nice, nice.
And then there was another guy, I don't remember his name unfortunately, but I got interviewed by both of them, and Elle had asked me about what projects I have coming up this year and what I'm excited about, and I was just so proud because she told me afterwards that she really loved my interview. So I still haven't seen it yet. I can't wait to see it, but then the other guy asked me something where he said, "What advice would you have for young people breaking into the industry?" Or I guess they don't have to be young, but green breaking into the
Yeah.
industry. And I was talking about the networking thing that it's so important to actually get to know people and also get to know yourself and to make genuine
Mhm.
connections with people and give before you take and don't use people. So,
Yeah, people smell that a mile away. You think you're being
totally.
all sneaky and whatever, but like, yeah, if you've been in this town for more than 5 minutes, you can spot very quickly when someone's like, "Oh, so what can you do for me? I'm pretending to be nice, but what can you do for me?"
Totally. Yeah. All right. And then Yeah, so I guess then the last part is just how can people find you? So your social media. Do you have a personal social media or mostly it's just the info list?
I pretty much tie all my personal stuff in Infolist. There's, of course, the www.infolist.com. And when we launch the website, there's going to be even more social functionality there. But we're also on Instagram. If you type in Infolist, it's actually Infolist_Jeff Gund. But if you type in Infolist, it'll most likely come up. It's an orange eye. You can't miss it. It looks nothing like me, but it's me.
Well, looks
Um,
like your shirt.
yeah, it looks like my shirt. So remember my shirt and then look for that on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook too. We've got a Facebook group and a Facebook page. And there's also my personal Facebook. It's either Jeff Gund or Jeffrey Gund, one of the two. But
Okay, I'll put it in the description of the podcast. That way people can find you easily. And of course, the reminder for everybody to come to the March 7th event.
yes, I forgot I
What?
said this before, but I want to say like about my events is yes, we do have a ton of the big name people there, which is excellent networking and great way to meet, icons in the industry. There's also a lot of the real working professionals. And going back to what we were talking about before, it's like meeting those working professionals is sometimes even better. Not that you don't want to meet the big people, but if you meet one of the working professionals that knows one of the big A-list people, that's even better because now you met this person, they're introducing you to someone, and that A-list person at my party will be like, oh, Joe, you must be a cool guy. All right. Now you're much more in his fold than just a random person he's meeting. So you want to meet everybody there. Don't just only target who are the big people.
I love how this all ties together. I just realized if someone, let's say someone watches this specific episode, as far as all my podcast episodes, this is the first one they watch and they're fresh in the industry and they're like, okay, what do I do and how do I do it? So we're telling them where to go and we're telling them how to network properly so that they're more successful when they're there. I feel like there was going to be a third thing, but that it was kind of underwhelming. I was like, and then yeah, that was it. But yeah, we're teaching them where to go and then what to do while they're there and how to do it. There was three things.
Yeah. What, where, and how.
There you go. So yeah, so Jeff's the man. Jeff has all the answers.
At least a few, anyway.
Yeah, you've been around, you have some experience and you have some wisdom.
Yep, I have definitely been around this town for a little bit.
Oh yeah, where
So,
are you from?
originally from Las Vegas.
Whoa, I didn't know
Uh,
that.
which for me, Vegas, like it's an okay place to visit for a couple of days, but I wouldn't want to live there again. All
Okay.
respect to people who live there now, but
Yeah, just it's not for you. How long did you live there for? Like, how old were you when you left?
I was there like through high school. Came out here for
Wow.
college and realized, oh, there is life outside of Vegas, and I like it better. I mean, kind of the way I describe the difference between Vegas and LA. Like in LA, everyone wants to make a quick buck, but at least they want to do something creative for it. In Vegas, they just want the quick buck.
Oh.
It's like the gambling and the nightclubs with the bottles and the tables and stuff. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's more
Wow.
culturally devoid, I guess, lack of a better way to put it. Again,
Yeah.
all respect to the people who live there.
Yeah, of course. It's just, to each their own. But I have a feeling, I mean, I know some people that are from Vegas, but I've never been there. But I still have a feeling that most of the people that listen to my podcast are going to be people that would enjoy LA more than Vegas. So I don't think people would be offended by what you said. And yeah, because I don't think you said anything offensive. You're just describing it and you're like, but
Yeah, yeah.
that
I mean,
doesn't appeal to
I mean,
me.
there's some truly wonderful people in Vegas,
Yeah.
and some awesome things to do for that matter too. But just as a living experience, I like LA much better.
Yeah, LA is my favorite place I've ever lived. So, yep. So we're here.
It's been a
Awesome.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And I guess I'll see you on the 7th.
I will definitely be there. I'll be the
That's good.
first to come and the last to leave. So,
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jeff.
all right. Thanks again.
Okay. You're
Talk to you
welcome.
soon.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.